Are people who drink decaf the ultimate coffee drinker? Let's talk about it.
We're going to be talking about decaf. This is my decaf that I actually sell. There's no real shameless plug, but I'm just talking about it, analyzing it for what it is. I think it's a really good decaf, so let's go ahead and taste it. This is about a 13-to-1 ratio. It has a fruit flavor on it, of course. On the tail end of it, it does have a chocolate note to it. How would I really describe this? It has a unpleasing grapefruit taste. Trust me, grapefruit to me is very sweet. It really is, especially if you peel it correct way. But if you taste like the rind and if you don't peel it correctly, this is what this tastes like. Fruit is actually a lot pleasant tasting compared to orange. It's even more intense on the flavors, but this is what this grapefruit kind of tastes like. Let's go ahead and drink this one too. This one's kind of interesting because I know you sure don't see a lot of roasters do this. Drinking coffee with creamer. I do this from time to time whenever I'm trying to understand what other people are drinking. In this case, it's a decaf and it works really well. Let's go back to the black. It does have that chemical E. I can't remember which the way that was processed. I think it's mountain processing, but I'll check on that. Again, it's just more so looking at these coffees critically. I'm thinking about the customer, like what are they going to be drinking? How do they like their coffee? And this is a medium roast too. To me, the acidity dies down as it cools, and I think it's a little bit more approachable. It gets to the point where it is kind of bland. I don't taste really any sweetness on this coffee. So those are some of the things that I think about, try to analyze, and I actually rack my head about it because I'm always trying to see what my customers, clients are actually tasting and to give it to them in a way to where they like it and they want to drink it all the time. On a business scale, even this is more of a high-end type of decaf, $5, $6 a pound. You can actually get away with something a lot cheaper, mainly because decaf is a product that most people don't really drink or use or whatnot, but you do want to have it as an offer. So that's why I chose to go ahead and get this higher end type of coffee. And it's also great because if I don't want to drink filtered coffee at 6 o'clock p.m., can. But I believe it's a solid cup of coffee. I really do. I'm not just saying that just I sell it. Again, like I said, the biggest drawback to me is that you still get that grapefruity type of taste to it. You get it up front and then it dies down. That's the only real drawback that I do have with it, you know? And I think that could throw people off quite a bit. And then you taste a little bit of the decaf processing in this coffee. So those two mixed together, I believe that may throw some people off to where they were like, I still don't like decaf, which I could totally understand. But as a creamer product that you're gonna add things to, it works really well. I don't see a problem with it at all whatsoever. Let's go back to this creamer coffee. I'm sure you're still surprised, but oh, you may drink coffee with creamer. I used to be a really big snob about people drinking their coffees with creamer. I mean, even though I started that way, right? It's kind of hypocritical, right? But I did that. And when I did that, they can tell that I was this person that was extremely judgmental, only cared about the purity of the product. It's been many years now that I've actually changed the tune of that because that's that person's palate. That's that person's way of going about their ritual. I do recommend people tasting coffee as it is, black first, but truthfully, they don't have to do that because, again, it's their mouth, it's their palate. It's the same thing when I make different things, different foods, and all that. I may have a way of going about it, but at the end of the day, that's that person's way of doing things. And I think that's extremely critical in understanding that. I'm like, wow, oh, okay, that's what that person likes. And I think a better conversation is not so much of like, why did you do this? I guess so. It can be. It can be, why did you do this? What do you like about that? What does adding this particular creamer do to your morning, do to your mood? You know, do you have different other things that you do in order to really taste what you're trying to taste? Because I'm really surprised though, a lot of times, especially when I give this coffee to my wife, she can pick out different flavors of coffee. And I would have thought a lot of times is that that'll be very hard to do because you're like mixing it, you're masking it. But that doesn't mean that if somebody mixes something together, doesn't mean they don't have the palate to understand what they're truly drinking. Like a lot of times when I roast some African coffees that are green-ish or very light roast, she's able to pick up on vegetable type of taste of these coffees, which is really cool, you know? Like I said, I just wanted to give you of understanding of like what I'm tasting, why I'm tasting it, and what I think about that coffee and how it can actually get better. And I do think this coffee can get better. I wonder if this particular method processing this decaf is the best method because you do taste the decaffeiness of the process, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of hard for you to like get away from what you're actually tasting. You can't truly taste the coffee decaffeinated, because there's a process to strip away of what it really is, right? So really the purest form is of course is the caffeine. And I think there's a lot of people out here, including myself, is that yeah, we care about the caffeine, but that's more so like an afterthought. And when taste the coffee and enjoy it, I can at least speak for myself, it's about the taste. It's about like this bean can actually taste like this. And this is the reason that I got into coffee. But I was really surprised that coffee when I was younger tasted like crap. And now that I can get different beans and roast it so many different ways and get different characteristics about the coffee, that's what excites me. That's what gets me going. And it's really cool to get something in its purest form, because this is really not in its purest form. It's decaf. But as it is a caffeinated beverage with so many different flavors, changes when it cools down. And then the brew method, the way you brew it, you can probably bring different sweetness out of the coffee. You can see if you can get that balance of sweetness and acidity, right? That's what excites me about coffee. That's the thing that gets me going, and trying to understand that how can I make this product better for other people? That's what gets me going so much, you know? So it could be, of course, in the roasting, but also, of course, in the brewing technique. And those are the discoveries that I'm really trying to understand and get to, right? So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. And hopefully, with time, I will get opinions, critiques from you guys, because I think that's extremely important, because I don't want to be in this island of giving you information. I mean, I know it's mostly right because I test a lot of stuff, but it's cool to test your curiosities with other people's curiosities, because that's the beauty of all this, is that I may think that this coffee tastes good at 1 to 13 ratio, but you may like it at a 1 to 20. I personally think 1 to 20 ratio is crap, you know, but the way that you actually brewed it, and you can probably even taste more of the clarity of the coffee and tasting. That's probably something that I don't realize as much, is that if I do a 1 to 13, 1 to 15, even a 1 to 10 ratio, I'm actually probably muddying the cup. So it's very hard for me to actually taste what I'm tasting. But through your methods and your ways of going about it, that could be exactly the thing that gives me that understanding, like the next level of what I'm trying to taste. So that's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of putting myself out there on YouTube and getting different opinions from other people to give me a real insight into the journey that we're taking, because this is all it's about. We're all taking this journey together, even though it's separate, because I'm not actually in your house. You're actually doing your thing in your own house, in your own place, with your own rituals. You know, it'd be cool to kind of get an idea of others. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Of course, I'm looking forward to keep going and experimenting and giving this information and sharing. That's what I got for you. So talk to you later. Bye.